Hello, my name is Doug Sharp, and I'm the host of the National Leadership Briefing, and this is the Midweek Touchpoint. Well, it's an exciting moment in time for us because, as you know, the National Leadership Briefing, we're always scanning the horizon for opportunities where we can have influence, and we have been working to a point in time within one political party to exercise the maximum amount of influence possible as part of their leadership election process. Well, here we are. We are actually at the moment in time where the ballots are being sent out in the mail. Some people have received them in Western Canada, and it looks like the ballots are sweeping across the nation, and you're going to have one of these in your hand very, very soon. So I thought it was best that we actually bring somebody on to the National Leadership Briefing Midweek Touchpoint that can help walk through with us on ballot handling and things that we've got to do immediately on the road ahead to make sure we make no mistakes. So I just want to bring out my guest here today. We have Faytene with us today. Everybody knows Faytene from For My Canada, and here it is. Let's bring her out. Well, great. Good to see you, Faytene. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Well, it's great to be here, Doug. I'm such a fan of you and the good work of Conservative Update and also the National Leadership Briefing. So thank you for having me at this important time for our nation.
It is an important time, isn't it? I mean, it's not often that we have an opportunity to select the leader of a political party that could quite possibly become the next Prime Minister of Canada. I mean, this is a high office in our land, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big deal. And I think if you study the history of politics, there's a very good chance that the Conservative government or the Conservative Party is going to form government, whether it's a minority or a majority, because as Canadians, we tend to go back and forth. We're ripe for a change. So there is a very good chance that as we vote, or as Canadians vote for the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, they're not just voting for the leader of that party, but they're actually voting for the next Prime Minister.
Excellent way to look at it, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks. So here today, you and I have talked about this all the way along. You know, I mean, we've been walking this road together. We've been waiting. This is the big moment. This is when we actually have received. Many of us have got our ballots in the mail here, and now it's go time. We get to actually exercise the influence that we have in this process, which is the goal line for us, right? Exciting.
Absolutely huge. Yeah, this is not a time to be distracted with roasting marshmallows and hot dogs and miss your ballot. You don't want to miss this one. It's a key moment.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And on that note, it's interesting. You take a look historically at other elections, and what we've seen is there are some common pitfalls that people fall into when it's time to cast their ballot. They've been getting ready to go. They've been doing all the training, getting to know the candidates, and then their ballots are mailed out to you in the mail. And some people, they make mistakes. So I just want to go over real quickly some of the common mistakes for the folks that are here on the call today. First of all, you'd be surprised how many people that get their ballots in the mail actually throw them away thinking they're a fundraising letter. Isn't that right?
Yeah, because you get so much mail, especially during a campaign. Pretty much every time we're going to the mailbox right now, Doug, I'm getting something from one of the candidates. So it's very easy to miss your actual ballot in the midst of everything that you're getting. Also, people are in summer mode. So definitely want to be alerting yourself to be watching for the envelope that says ballot.
Ballot.
That one.
There it is, right there. That's the one we're looking for. So don't throw it away thinking it's just junk mail or whatever. The second thing that's kind of amazing to me is that it's the number of people that get their ballots, but then they don't fill them out and send them in. I mean, that's good for us because we're so fired up and engaged in this process. We're all sending in our ballots, but so many people don't. As many as half the people actually don't send in their ballots. So we're telling everybody, look, your influence is even greater than you think it is.
Yeah, that is huge. And that is huge. I'm not sure what the final tally is, but I know it's right around the 250 to 300,000 mark in terms of the numbers of members in the Conservative Party. If only half of those people are mailing in their ballot, and you think of a nation of 38 million people, your one vote out of 150,000 people, it could shift things for 38 million people. It's just the power to impact here by just looking for that mail, filling it out properly, and actually licking the stamp and getting it back in, is huge.
It's huge. It's huge. And what's the final pitfall? It's spoiling the ballot. Faytene, what can you tell us about the importance of not spoiling your ballot?
Yeah, well, first off, just want to say there's some great resources out there. And Doug, you're best. You're the best. You're top of the tops here. So I know you're going to be doing some training on how to just a step-by-step on how to fill out your ballot to make sure that it's not spoiled. But the Conservative Party as well, they've put out a video. I believe it's up on your website, conservativeupdate.ca. It's up on our website, For My Canada. It's up on their website. And so you can just watch that video. And if you have any questions, I just say bug Doug. Just email him. I'm sure he'd be happy to help you out. We'll help you out too For My Canada. But Doug, you're the best.
No man left behind. We're not arriving at the goal line here just to leave someone behind. So yes, if you have any questions, get in touch with me. Now there's so much more that we want to cover though here today. I wanted to get you, Faytene. You guys have done an awful lot of work on the criteria now of how to make your informed choice. I mean, we've been providing everyone that we serve with the information about all the candidates, and we want to make sure that they have enough information so they can decide for themselves. But you've actually developed a criteria that is really quite compatible with our faith as to how to make those decisions. Would you mind telling us a bit about that right now?
Yeah, I'd be honored to unpack this briefly. And so first off, just want to say if people want access to this voter guide, the criteria that you're talking about, you can just go to formycanada.ca, formycanada.com. Now, Doug, with the My Canada, For My Canada Association, we're actually not a charity. We're a national nonprofit. So what that means is that we can have an opinion at times like this and not be threatened with losing our charitable status because we don't have charitable status, right? It's beautiful. So we created For My Canada for moments like this to serve the body of Christ with authenticity by being able to release information, with full transparency of what we actually think, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason we put this together, Doug, honestly, is that for months, we've been encouraging people to use their democratic power to buy that membership by May the 15th, as you have as well. And so because of that, people have been phoning us, emailing us, messaging me, asking, who are you voting for and why? And I want to say this, Doug, I do not take that question lightly. Like when people ask my opinion or our opinion with For My Canada on key issues like who to vote for in terms of who might be the next Prime Minister of Canada, I consider that a trust. And so because of that, Doug, we intentionally restrained ourselves. We waited as long as we possibly could to listen to all the debates, to listen to your briefings. We were watching your interviews there with the candidates last time around. Getting on the Zoom calls ourselves. I've been in personal contact with the different candidates because we really wanted to be able to produce something that had as much depth and accuracy as possible. And so in terms of criteria, I'll drive to this real quick. It's super easy. People can just go to our website, click on the link, CPC Leadership Guide, and it's very simply laid out with our number one recommendation. We're actually recommending, and this is me saying this right now, this is not Doug, but with our organization, we're recommending people put Dr. Leslyn Lewis in the first spot, Derek Sloan, in the second spot, Aaron O'Toole in the third, and then obviously there's only one person in one spot left. And the criteria that we looked at, Doug, is actually different than, at least in terms of one criteria column, than any other group that I've seen out there, but I know you would adhere to these categories as well. We put all the typical things in there, the typical categories and criteria, the life issue, the freedom issue. This relates to the four pillars, both of those, protecting the most vulnerable amongst us, parental rights, that would be under the freedom issue. Fiscal stewardship was one of our criteria. Again, that's one of your four pillars. Also support of Israel, as the only democratic nation in the Middle East that has Arab and Jewish and non-Jewish members in the Knesset. Personally with For My Canada, we feel it's important that Canada continues to at least stand for Israel's right to defend itself as a democracy in the Middle East. First Peoples issues, oh my gosh, there's so much there. I could just go on and on. I'll try to respect your time here, Doug, but
no problem at all. You're doing great.
Green policies, obviously this is a huge conversation for the next generation, for many Canadians. And then we also looked at winnability in key regions, because let's face it, this is a factor. There are key regions in our nations, and not only key regions, but key demographics in our nation that could really be the kingmakers, could really be the game changers. So it does matter how a candidate will weigh up in those key regions and with those key demographics. I'll come back to that in a second. Also, their academic and life qualifications. But I want to say this, Doug, the most important, hands down to me, maybe other than the life issue, the most important category for me is consistent, honorable conduct towards other candidates. All of the candidates are honorable towards Canadians, and all of the candidates are actually very honorable towards one another, even in their face-to-face communications for the most part. In the debates, the Quebec debate obviously was a bit nasty between O'Toole and McKay. That wasn't a hard read or a hard observation to make. It was right out there. But we're really looking at how does a candidate conduct themselves towards other candidates, not just in their face-to-face communications, but in their written communications and their social media, because I do believe that honor is important to the Lord. And as a matter of fact, it's one of the first commandment with a promise is honor your father and mother and you will inherit the land. Now, of course, they're not each other's fathers and mothers, but there is this principle that's flagged there, even right in the 10 Commandments, that honor matters to the Lord. And if we want to see politics done in a different way, we need to be invested in electing leaders that will do politics in a different way. And I personally believe, you look at Margaret Thatcher, you look at some of the greats throughout history, they had the ability, even Stephen Harper at times had the ability to be strong, to be courageous, to give strong leadership, but not enter into that sort of bashy politics that just drags everybody through the mud and just makes nobody in Canada even want to watch or pay attention, right? So, right. Okay, so I'm going to start to bottom line this here real quick. So what we did is we had a 1 to 5 rating, 5 being the highest, 1 or 0 being the lowest, and we just pragmatically rated each one of the candidates in each one of the categories based on what we've seen over the last 90 to 120 days during this campaign period. Leslyn Lewis came out on top for 3 primary reasons. Number 1 is her honorable conduct. Like, this woman has been so classy all across the board. And I think it's one of the reasons why the other candidates, especially in the English debate, treated her with such class. It was because she has really led the way in that, but not only in the debates, also in her written and social media communication. She stood her ground. She's defended herself when she needed to, but she never kind of got into that mud-slinging thing that we often see. And I personally really appreciate and value that. And that's the type of person that I want representing me as a Canadian, even in the international stage. Number 2, her winnability in key regions and demographics. Hands down, this is not a hard read. She will be the strongest in the GTA. She will be stronger than Aaron O'Toole, even though Aaron O'Toole has won 3 times in the GTA, but he's in rural GTA. He's not in urban GTA. Right. And she has worked right in the core of the GTA for years. She's respected as a lawyer in several different spheres of the GTA. She is a woman. That's huge. Women are just naturally going to have ears to hear what she has to say in a way that they might not have ears for others. It's just human nature. It's the way it is. She will have stronger pull with the millennials as well, especially because of her credibility and credentials on the environment as a person who has a master's in environmental studies. And I could go on down the line. She's weak in Quebec, obviously, but so are all the other candidates straight up. I heard people from Quebec say, listen, they were all horrible in their French. Whoever wins is going to have to get better in French fast, before the next federal election. And then, of course, her academic qualifications. Now, I do want to say this, though. This was a hard, if it wasn't for just number crunching and math, I might have been a little bit hooped here, Doug, because when you have 2 incredible frontrunner candidates like Leslyn and Derek Sloan, Dr. Leslyn Lewis and Derek Sloan, that are both so strong in the 4 pillars, Derek and Leslyn, 5-star in the 4 pillars. They're going to stand for life. They're going to stand for parental freedoms. They're going to stand for fiscal stewardship. They're going to stand for the voiceless and the vulnerable. It really does then crunch down to those sort of more periphery categories to put one or the other over the ledge. In terms of Aaron and Peter, God bless them, wonderful men. I tip my hat to anybody who would put their name forward, to run for politics. But you know, maybe I'll hold my commentary there to myself a little bit and just let the numbers speak for themselves in the categories. But we've produced this as a resource for the body of Christ, keeping honor as our core ethos there at the front and center. Again, people can read it at formycanada.ca. And I just want to maybe close by saying this. At least fill out your number 1 and 2. I would say also fill out your number 3. But maybe you're listening to this and you're like, Faytene, I totally disagree with you. You're out to lunch. You know, I'm putting Derek number 1. Then I would just, you know, encourage you to really seriously consider putting Leslin number 2, filling out that number 3 spot. Aaron O'Toole is the out of Aaron and Peter. Aaron is the only one that has said he will allow a free vote in his cabinet on issues of conscience. That's a big difference between the two of them. Fill it out up to number 3. If you're going to put Derek first, at least put Leslin second. If you're going to put Leslin first, then, you know, maybe consider our voters scorecard here on the others. And I pray this is a blessing and helpful. And feel free to print this off, share this with your friends. And again, we can say these things because we're a nonprofit, not a charity. That was a lot of words there, Doug. I'm so glad you shared it, because what you did just now is by reviewing where you're at now and how you arrived at that place. It's a perfect example of what we teach and what we encourage on the National Leadership Briefing, because we really do want people, when it's decision time, when it's time to actually exercise your influence, we want everyone to have a really well-grounded perspective on why they're doing what they're doing. And by you establishing this criteria, I just thought it was is such a perfect example of what people should be doing in their own lives. Now, of course, I encourage them to take a look at your criteria and take a look at the way you reason through these things, because it really is compatible with our faith and with our desire to make a difference and have influence in the outcome of this race. So I thank you. You take all the time you want when it's that well thought out and that reasoned an approach. Well, and I want to say this too, Doug. I want to make myself accessible to anybody that's watching this video. If you're looking at, you know, our chart and you're like, I don't get why they put that number and that, like, just email us. You know, this is a high priority. We would love to unpack anything with anyone that has a genuine question. Let's just keep that ethos of honor all the way around, you know.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, I thank you so much, Faytene, for the work that you have done and your organization in tracking along and serving the people, not only that you serve, but you've actually been a real blessing to our organization and the work that we're doing here. So I thank you so much for taking the time again for helping us out and helping us really make sure that we're maximizing our influence. You know, it's like when people talk about whether they're only going to be putting down two names or 3 names. I say put all the names down, because don't leave a shred of influence unused on your ballot. Make sure that every single opportunity you have to decide how this thing is going to turn out, you're making sure you're using it all. Leave it all on the playing field, I say.
Absolutely. And commit to the long haul, right? Like once we get past August 21st, no matter who gets in, we want to be engaged at the policy convention level. We want to be getting involved in our EDAs, because we need to be influencing whoever it is that does win and supporting people that have strong ideas. Much respect for you, Doug. Much respect for everybody who's watching this. You're one of the best Canada has. You're one of the sharpest pencils in Canada, is what I consistently say about you.
I think I'm having more fun than anyone else. That's for sure.
Well, we love it. We love it. Grateful for your leadership.
Okay, and thank you, Faytene. All right, so appreciate your time. We're going to wrap it up there. But in the meantime, I just want to say goodbye to everybody. We're going to include the resources below. We've got videos. We got links to Faytene's information. We've got links to all of the information you're going to need for actually handling your ballot. So don't forget to check below this video for that. And we shall see you on the road ahead. In the meantime, God bless you. God bless your family. And God bless
Canada.
Bye for now.